days of long ago, created by the cosmic legends of the universe. There stands one man, one great man, a man dedicated to preserving all that is good in pop culture. Loved by few, hated by many. Alone in his fortress of awesomeness, he battles fearlessly against the wolf, the evil, the unjust. To right that which is wrong, to stand for justice, to serve all mankind. He is the one, the only, the Comic Relief Crusader.
Hey folks, welcome to another Titillating Tuesday. Wow, 50 episodes. This is nuts. I made it to actually 50 episodes, half of 100. This is crazy that I made it this far, and for some odd reason, I don't know why, but I'm not streaming on Rumble, and I'm trying to correct that as we speak. So, yeah, wow, welcome everybody. It seems like the whole crowd is jumping already. We got Killer Rabbit from space, greeting humans, greeting to you too. And we have another rabbit here. Hey, Comic Relief and Killer Rabbit, howdy to you. And we have the illustrious Carla Burton, who's here as well. Hey, old Carla. And who else have we got? We got Gap After Dark. Hail, Gap After Dark. How's it going, man? And yeah, and of course we got Carla. Yeah, I heard he said Carla. So why am I saying Carla again? Probably because she's doubly as sweet to be here. Let's see. Yeah, how's everybody going over the weekend? Hope everybody's doing pretty good and doing well, and I hope everybody got enough rest and whatnot. And let's introduce who we need to introduce here today.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
Admiral Teague, how's it going, sir?
I'm pleased to announce to the American people in the world that after targeted use of chemicals in my apartment yesterday, the cockroach threat has been abated. The borders of this apartment are secure.
Amazing. Amazing. Simply amazing. You survived.
God, it was a horror. It was like Creepshow.
I love that movie. Frig. And we also got Pop Culture Republic. How's it going, my man?
Hey, it's going well.
Awesome. Hope you had a good weekend so far.
Oh,
so
yeah. Always a blast.
And hell, Tony Stark, Stark of Iron, also here as well. How's it going, man? Let's see. And also all the way from the East Coast that survived a hurricane that oddly enough was shaped like a penis for some odd reason on lots of weather maps. I don't know why.
I could be a hurricane.
That was a pleasant hurricane. Yeah, no, hurricane my ass. That was nothing. That was
I got that hurricane. That was like an afternoon of on and off rain.
Yeah, that's all it was here too. I was like, really? That's it?
Huh.
Hey, Foggy.
Hey.
So what you're saying?
Hey there.
It was rather disappointing.
Yeah, I was hoping like cool winds and blow my house off and stuff. But no.
It's like Inspector Dreyfus from the Pink Panther, right? I wanted twisted smoke and rubble and burning holes in the ground, and you give me nothing.
Exactly.
You have disappointed me for the wrong last time. So,
get me some dental care.
Yeah, exactly right, Frank. Well, I'm sorry it wasn't exciting enough for you. So
No, yeah, one of those drab
Yeah.
regular
It's
stuff.
called out a hurricane. They wasted a name on that storm. If you had to be
Oh,
named
man.
after a storm, that's the one to be named after it. Like killed like 2 dolphins at sea. That's about it.
there we go.
Yeah, Lee. I mean, I'm hoping a big kick to the thing or some kind of amazing
Yeah.
kung fu things. But Bruce Lee, one of the greats. But no,
It's hard to
It
say.
is there. Yeah.
Hurricane Bruce turned into a 1-inch punch.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, jeez. So, how's everybody's week been doing so far? Even though it's Tuesday.
Good. I'm
Yeah.
finishing up, and people can laugh at me, but I'm finishing up watching the season of Flash. I was during the lack of the whole world when it turned upside down. I forgot to watch it. It's like, so I'm like 3 seasons behind, but I'm on to season 9 now. And guess what came up on streamable?
Really?
Guess what's streamable now? By the way, it was supposed to be the end of the month. Blue Beetle is now available on streaming.
Wow.
Already.
Another movie for me to skip.
I'll still watch it to torture myself, and I'm just that pathetic.
I just put myself through Ezra Miller's Flash, and that's enough for me to swear off superhero movies right there. I mean,
I
that's
didn't hate the Michael Keaton stuff. It was cool to see Michael Keaton. I was like, oh,
yeah.
But I know what you mean.
It's like just little bits in a movie doesn't redeem it.
No, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Well, let's see here. As we generally start off on a funny note, we'll just do some stupid news of the week that I just happened to find out there, so everybody gets a good laugh. This is really going to be good. Because generally sometimes we talk about how they just love to remake history in their own image. So this is no different.
No.
Yes, this from the Daily Mail. Yes, this.
No, it's not mean it's a mail
black
by day.
author-
And
Yes, with the book Brilliant Black British History. So Stonehenge was built when Britain was a black country. A new children's book claims.
What?
all right, no, I understand where she's coming from with this, but you got to follow the steps of stupidity. I'm gonna reverse engineer the idiocy for you. I took these special
Well, I don't
anti-stupid.
want to.
I don't
Never
want
mind
to
then.
either.
I took my anti-stupid pills today. I can tell you what this stupid person means. I speak idiot. Would you like to know why she's saying this?
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
As
break it
far
down
as I
for us.
can- As far as I can tell, right? As far as we know.
Right.
And like nobody's really put a lot of effort into this because it doesn't mean shit, right? It doesn't mean shit.
Okay.
No one is really bothered with this, but we think that like most pre-Homo sapiens before 100,000 years ago, Neanderthals and such, they may have been what Tolkien described as swart. So if she's saying Stonehenge was built by Neolithic peoples, pre-Iron Age peoples, they may have not, in fact, developed Caucasoidal people yet because no one had been in the north long enough to develop. Because remember, lack of melanin is an acquired deficiency.
Oh, yes.
She should have some empathy for me. I was only born with just so much melanin, and she has so much more. Share some.
Oh, yeah, don't hog it all.
Don't be mean to the melanin deficient.
Like, let me see. I think we went over a movie where Mads Mikkelsen was going on about even in the 17th century, there was like next to no people of color.
Yeah.
But the film with the one
but-
black girl, but that's
Yeah.
rare. Yeah, exactly.
And this is going way back.
Yeah.
Like, even
Are we
further
talking about
back
in
than
England?
that.
We're
Yeah,
talking
we're
about
talking
in
about
England.
in England, right?
Yeah.
About Stonehenge in England.
Everybody at that point looked like coffee with a splash of milk. I'm thinking.
Yes. Yeah. That's got to be it. How? Oh God! And this is a children's book.
I'm pretty sure there are druids who are like standing up, saying, "Hold on a moment,
Yeah.
hold on a moment." We're like ancestors of the actual druids that
Right.
might have built these things. So
Right.
yeah,
What's wrong with being Jewish? All right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And
just what I
held
needed, a
real
Jewish
Wade
princess.
Station gaming
Yeah.
clips.
Real Wade,
So
it's real nice
What's
to
up, dude?
see you.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know how she came to this conclusion. Maybe she had a time machine. Oh, no, sorry. It's England, so maybe she had a TARDIS
Yes,
and
yes.
went back in time.
Oh, yeah.
I think we're
And
all
yes,
we're
and she
all
got
one color then.
irrefutable photographic evidence. Yes, exactly. And that's what happened. She has acquired technology.
She found
You
a
know.
fucking caveman cell phone. It's got some fucking video on there of them building Stonehenge, like a
Yeah,
fucking
right.
selfie with like a spear.
That's right.
Loincloth.
Because that makes total sense, right?
I saw
So-
cave paintings. Everyone in them was black.
Mhm.
Oh my god! Like I don't
Ancient,
know. You're-
ancient cave paintings of Stonehenge being constructed, and off to the side is a little blue box.
All right, you don't
Yes.
have to make fun of my
Yeah.
age. So I was a bad painter in my youth.
Hey, I'll stick to the theory
So
of
I-
aliens. Don't forget, they said it could be used for portals and stuff. The Stonehenge. So
Mm.
there's always that theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Well, you know where were you? I didn't see you in the Neander Valley, Foggy Brains. Mike, I, and PCR, we were there. Remember when we killed that last dinosaur, guys? That was
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
day.
oh,
That
yeah.
was
That
a
was
time
some
and a-
tasty
Awesome hunt.
barbecue right there.
Exactly.
When we killed that last dinosaur, that was a time and a half.
Mhm.
Ribs that went
I'm
on for
craving
miles.
I'm creating brontosaurus ribs now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then
Foggy
Well,
Brains
we,
is like, I'm on the Foggy
then
Brains,
we
like, I'm
all
streaming
slept
with idiots.
next to that. We all slept next to that downed meteorite that glowed warmly, and
Yeah.
little did we know that would alter our DNA to make us immortal. Oh wait,
Mm.
that's
Then
a
we-
comic book villain.
Oh,
Then we
right.
took
Yeah,
we took mushrooms and looked at that obelisk,
exactly.
and we
That's right.
we outcompeted the other super monkeys who tried to fuck with us. That's when Mike threw the bone in the air, and since that day, everything's changed.
Exactly. Damn me.
Ugh.
Damn it. So
It only goes to
um,
show that history
you
is
damn
what
dirty
we
ape.
want it to be.
Exactly.
They
Yeah.
finally
That
made
hasn't
a
happened.
monkey out of me.
Yeah, exactly. So hey people, how do you like reproducing? Isn't it fun if you've ever had kids out there in the chat on Rumble?
I
On,
like the part that comes
in the
first,
YouTubes.
like 9 months earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, the
it
act
isn't
up might sound
reproduction,
fun.
just
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah,
Yes,
this is a
well, yeah,
very
or the
odd
act, yeah,
segue.
We'll go with that.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
really.
That's right. So this from Hearts.
not see that coming.
Will the biological advantage of straight people to reproduce be considered a violation of the equality principle?
Yeah, check out my performance enhancing dick, baby.
okay, reading
that
that
sperm
headline,
right-
I swear
Yeah.
I've lost brain cells reading that right now.
So
I felt them going.
Read
Pop, 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 pop.
So
Foggy
read this
Brains is
carefully,
giving the
Dad.
headline the Billy Madison Prize. I award you no
Yeah.
points. May God have mercy on the headline writer's soul. She's got a great
So again-
overstuffed chair, though. I want that
Oh
chair.
my
Yeah, that is a nice
God.
chair. Yes.
Yeah. But at
Oh,
some point,
Wade,
really,
yeah,
the
thanks
brain
a lot.
cells
Thank
just
you for the compliment.
yeah.
Oh,
Real
At
Wade's a
some
great
point,
guy.
the brain cells just start flaking off like dandruff at this point.
I know.
They
it's
do. They
just-
do.
It dissipates.
So for all of you, just pay attention to that. Will the biological advantage of straight people? First of all, everyone has this advantage. Okay,
It's
everyone. You know,
it's up to people to
women-
use it or not.
Yes, women are just naturally born with eggs. Men naturally just have sperm. It's you know, they make it sound like just only straight people can just reproduce. But is that
No shit.
reproduction ability? Is that reproduction ability a violation? Okay, so are you doing something?
Well, I
bad
mean,
by
let's-
having
let's-
kids.
it can. Let's just say it can be. It can be a violation if certain legally operative questions aren't asked and answered in a way that is satisfactory to the party of the second part, i.e., the person getting fucked.
Yes. So just make sure it's consensual, everybody. So you know.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it does-
Yeah, Carla Burton says
everything
they're
else.
going to
Yeah.
make it that peasants and drowned turtle serfs were black people, not white. Exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
That's
Oh,
right.
my
Remember all those
God.
black people they deported to Australia for crimes
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
the British Crown?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Way back when.
Or in
Jennifer
Ireland, all
Lawrence
the
was
black
there
people,
first.
the Vikings enslaved, you know. And it's,
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
for
St.
sure.
Patrick let all the black people out of Ireland,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It was.
Exactly.
Yeah. All those black people making teepees in North America for, generations upon generations.
Yeah.
exactly.
Hunting,
Yeah.
hunting wild bison and buffalo and whatnot. And yeah, amazing. And and don't forget when they conquered the world under the Mongolian Empire, I mean they were everywhere. So yeah, we need to bow down to their superiority. But yeah. This I found just unbelievably stupid. Oh my
Like,
God.
what's
How is
that
this a
line
violation of the
Ripley? Yeah, what's that line Ripley said? Did IQs drop sharply while I was away?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it does. I think it's just
Yeah.
That's one of the best lines in that movie. He
Yeah.
looks over at it's the guy from it's the guy who was married to Helen Hunt, Bonnie Hunt's sister, on that stupid TV fucking show.
Right.
And his name in Aliens is Burke, because I can't stand Paul Reiser or whatever his name is in any other role. It's like Steve Gutenberg, sort of. We just want to forget him with the 80s. But yeah, she looks over at Burke and she's like, "Did IQs drop sharply while I was asleep?"
Yes, it was. You pulled a Rip Van Winkle, and everybody in the process got stupider. So that's what it
Rip
was.
Van Winkle. Rip Van Winkle. I have to do due diligence. I'm obligated to say Rip Van Winkle takes place in New York.
Yeah, it
the
does.
acceptance of stupidity I find nowadays is from, and if anybody's ever watched it, those new slap competitions, it's considered a sport now. Once that becomes,
I don't know why.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know why.
IQs are now at its lowest point. That's a sport.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
That's why. So,
I blame No Child Left Behind, but I mean I don't know why. Quite honestly, that if you say, "Listen, 8, it's my favorite letter," they're like, "Okay, half credit."
Sure. Gap After Dark. Yeah, I say we nuke the equity principle from orbit. It's the only way to make sure. It is. And Hail Deep, how's it going, bro? Nice to see you here.
Hello.
Yeah, first of all, people, you all have this amazing ability. Everyone on the planet, except for neutered people, have this amazing ability to have kids, reproduce. Check it out. It's fun. It's magical.
And back in the day, I knew
and
some
all of
gay
you can
couples
do it.
that would have surrogate, like gay men couples. They would have surrogates. A friend of theirs, sure, they can still have a kid, or two lesbians. One of them would get a donation from somewhere. Yeah, it can still be had. So,
adoptions are a thing.
Exactly, There's how many kids we have in homes that need homes? Like
Exactly.
So, yeah,
precisely. But you know what? To anybody that might be gay out there or lesbian, try it out. It's not bad. It's pretty.
I know
fun.
some that have actually couples that have had kids and they're amazing parents. So
there you go.
No, I think he's talking about heterosex, right? You're talking about try procreation. In the words of the great Richard Pryor from the movie Deaf and Dumb, right? Or what was the one where he was blind and dumb? What was the last one with him and Gene Hackman?
Oh God,
Gene
Wilder, I think it was.
Gene Wilder. Sorry, Gene
Yeah.
Hackman.
Oh,
yeah. I lied about taking the anti-stupid pills. They bring him into the room. They think he's like a doctor and he's blind and he can't read the room. Yeah. Literally, he doesn't know the situation. He's like, "What have you done as a treatment to help your patients?" It's like, "We have tried what's called fucking."
Yeah. And the words of
very scientific term.
Wee. So enjoy it. That's all I can say about that. So, yeah.
Moving right along.
Yes. So moving right along.
There's only so much stupid I can take.
Well, you know what they say, sex sells, and if I could just bring a touch of science to it, why not? Right?
Oh, sorry to interrupt. See no evil, hear no evil.
There you go. I was Googling it right now.
That's right.
Thank you.
It is.
Yeah.
And by the way, since sex sells, right? A lot of people decided let's sell sex, and we don't get much more than that from a lot of different things.
That's right. So this lately in the news that's been going on in the realm of comics, I thought this was pretty interesting by Bill Willingham. Now, if you don't know Bill Willingham, he had a comic through DC Comics called Fables, and it was out for a bit now. And essentially, the whole premise of the story was essentially taking, fairy tales and making a series of comic book stories out of them. So,
well, when you say fairy tales,
yes,
this is we're talking like George Michael made his way to Central Park and went to the men's room.
Not quite. Children's fairy tales. Let's put it that way, right? So apparently, yeah. So apparently, what he did is he took his comic book property called Fables, including all the related Fables spin-off characters and stories and whatnot, and he made it public domain. So basically, everybody can add on to the whole Fables storyline, right? Took it out of DC Comics' hands and gave it to the public, to you people out there, to have fun with it. Okay, and this is the whole article that goes on, right? Because this is quite the slap in the face of DC Comics. So this by Bill Willingham. As of now, September 15th, because this was released on the 15th, the comic book property called Fables, including all the related Fable spin-offs and characters, are now public domain. What was once wholly owned by Bill Willingham is now owned by everyone for all time. It's done, and most experts will tell you once done, it cannot be undone. Takebacks are neither contemplated nor possible. So he was asked, like, why would you do this? So a number of reasons, he said. I thought about this over time in no particular order. They are: one, practicality. When I signed my creator-owned publishing contract with DC Comics, the company was run by honest men and women of integrity who, for the most part, interpreted the details of that agreement fairly and above board. When problems inevitably came up, we worked it out like reasonable men and women. Since then, over the span of 20 years or so, those people have left or been fired, to be replaced by a revolving door of strangers of no measurable integrity, who now choose to interpret every facet of our contract in ways that will only benefit DC Comics and its owner companies.
You're only a stranger until the second introduction after you get out of the bathroom stall.
Exactly. And hopefully for no reach around. At one time, the Fables property were in good hands, and now, by virtue of attrition and employee replacement, the Fables property have fallen into bad hands. There you go. Well, he's totally calling out DC. Because, well, let's face it, everything that's been going on in the industry lately, bad writing, just either gender swapped or just retcons of characters and stuff like that. I mean, it's all in bad shape. Everything is in bad shape, and we all know this. So,
did I tell you about my prequel to Titillating Tuesdays that I'm going to do?
No, you didn't.
Oh, it's going to be called it's going to be the Comic Relief Latina. She plays your grandmother. We have some surface noise to make it sound like early 40s radio, right?
Oh,
and
nice.
Like we have appropriate music. And she's better than you, funnier than you, and a better artist than you. And she's an ardent communist. That's the twist.
Oh,
that's
nice. So I can retire now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The prequel. The prequel to the Titillating Tuesdays is called Stalin and Me at 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Upstaging bitch. Anyway, I'm so glad I know this now. So, but So essentially, yeah, he's just finding everybody in DC right now. Just you know what? Due to bad business practices and well, generally for you guys trying to get your own way with my characters, my storyline, you know, my label essentially. No, I'm not going to have anything like that. Forget it. You guys suck now. So it was great when everything was under proper management and treated everybody fairly, but now, not so much. So he goes on to say, since I can't afford to sue DC to force him to live up to the letter and the spirit of our long-time agreements, since even winning such a suit would take a ridiculous amount of money out of my pocket and years out of my life. I'm 67 years old and don't have the years to spare. I've decided to take a different approach and fight them in a different arena. Inspired by the principles of asymmetric warfare, the one thing in our contract the DC lawyers can't contest or reinterpret to their own benefit is that I am the sole owner of the intellectual property and I can sell it or give it away to whomever I want. Wow.
This is big. This is coming on the heels of
That's
Alan Moore coming out against DC as well.
Exactly.
it all goes back to I believe it would be, if I'm correct, MCA Records versus John Fogerty, 1987.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the thing is, that was determined by lawyers and musicians who are lawyers, because some people are both. And by the way, if you ever hear like almost copyright infringing music, like a lawyer musician wrote that, there's like a niche for that. But according to that judgment in 1986 or 87, the song "Old Man Down the Road" is in fact Susie Q by Creedence Clearwater Revival. However, since both songs were written by John Fogerty, he has the right to his own music because he wrote it forever. And there's an immutable part of him writing Susie Q or whatever song it is. Maybe it was Run Through the Jungle as Old Man Down the Road. But that was the contested song. He won the right to redo your own music infinitely. And that's why the Rolling Stones switch record companies every record, because they get 3 for 1. They do a best of because they own all their music. They do a new record because they can, and then they do a best of live because they own all their back catalog. So the Rolling Stones really took this one to the bank, and they have like 4 times as much because there's 3. Every record contract they switch companies, you get 3 records instead of 1.
Yeah,
and they're doing one, and like most 80-year-olds, they're doing it 1 year at a time.
Nice.
Yeah.
But no, this is like an uber smart move on his behalf. You know, essentially finding a way and making sure that they inserted into the contract that, hey, this is mine. I own it no matter what. You're just basically going to publish it. And that's it. I can do whatever I want after so long, and you can't do anything about it. And they're like, okay, fine. Because I believe at this point, DC was actually, you know, really playing fair with a lot of creators at the time, because you know they were trying really hard to compete with Marvel, and you know, I suppose this way they could really let the creators create. Is what I'm guessing.
I think what he did was he was smart enough to have a clause cut out of that original contract, the clause that said DC. But the thing is, if he was reinterpreting Fables, right? Like, so his like character would be like Jason of Jason and the Argonauts, you know what I mean? Like, so like in a way, everyone already owned them. What he was giving up was his interpretation of them. And he's called it asymmetrical warfare. So I'm going to say this is a very clever move to do legally. Rather than sue DC himself, knowing he was going to lose and would never really own it anyway, he said, okay, I give my part of this to everyone. Everyone's allowed to have it. So now he has like as many co-litigants as there are in the world. And now DC is going to have to back down and back off. But as the original owner, he has preeminent rights. Now, very smart move. Very, very smart.
This is a newer precedent too. Yeah.
Exactly. Because now I wonder how
it's very clever legally.
How many
it's legally clever. Sorry.
How many other creators have possibly done this as well over at DC?
This situation's pretty unique, but like Thor at MCU would be a similar situation.
I don't know. See, because Marvel owns that. Marvel owns
I don't
it
know. I
fully.
don't know the major difference.
You can wait, hold on.
Marvel at this point.
Those non-white people in England who built Stonehenge were worshiping Thor. Some of them. Marvel does not own Thor. They own their iteration of Thor.
Their iteration.
They only own
Right.
their person, and it has to be their exact iteration of. They don't own much of Thor.
That guy could do a
They own
Thor
as much
film,
of Thor.
which is
Otherwise,
That's
what's to
true.
stop them? And what next? Jesus. Like
Yeah,
Iron
exactly. Right.
Iron Christ. Like is that? I
Yeah.
mean, it's getting ridiculous.
I mean,
And a little
even
bit-
Extreme
in Thor
Studios
4,
back
it was
in their Image
offensive.
days, they even did a rendition of Thor.
You can just go out and make a Thor. You can make a Thor movie right now. You can make him a god. You can make his rival Loki. You just can't have him fight the Chitauri.
exactly.
exactly. Oh,
You can make
boy.
Miles Morales Thor.
But you could have him. You could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. They
my
they
God.
tried
Which
that.
they've already done. Which
They've
they've
already
already
done
attempted.
that. Yeah.
That Thor urban comic book was so fucking racist.
Oh,
Had
it
that
was
person
horrible.
ever met a black
Yeah.
person? He's like, I'm doing the greatest thing for black people since being born black. Something I didn't do. And it's like, I sound like one of the people on, in like the Writers Guild here saying like, black people should only write for black people and white people should only write for white people. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying here is like, get a life, go out, like go to a different neighborhood, like get out of your own development in like Calgary, go to a major city, see people, like touch concrete. Yeah, you've touched grass and you've smoked grass before you wrote that, but you should go out and touch some concrete and asphalt. Walk down the streets of a city like Detroit. I don't know, any real city.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it in the middle. It doesn't have to be Manhattan. It doesn't have to be Fifth Avenue, but like that had no correlation to life in the city. None. None.
Exactly.
I don't know
Stephen
about
Ransom,
what it's
how's
like
it going,
to.
dude?
Hi, Stephen. I don't know what it's like to be
Hello.
black, but I know what it's like to live in a city. That had nothing to do with it.
Yep. So it goes on. I chose to give my characters away to everyone. If I couldn't prevent Fables from falling into bad hands, at least this way, I can arrange it so it falls into many good hands. Since I truly believe there are more good people in the world than bad ones, I count it as a form of victory. So
Well, he's naive, but that was a brilliant legal strategy, just like I said. Wow.
Yep. So that was point number one. Point number two.
Wow.
Philosophy. In the past decade or so, my thoughts on how to reform the trademark and copyright laws in this country, and others, I suppose, have undergone something of a radical transformation. The current laws are a mishmash of unethical backroom deals to keep trademarks and copyrights in the hands of large corporations who can largely afford to buy the outcomes they want. In my template, for radical
that's true, by the way. That's true, by the way. They can just
it is
keep,
100% true.
If they lose outright,
Yep.
let's say Disney steals your idea, like they say they did with the Lion King.
Yep.
If they lose, and I don't know what the litigious path of that is, but let's just say hypothetically, if you beat them outright in court, just beat the shit out of them, they can put everything in abeyance and go for an appeal, where you have to hold the bag of all the money you spent plus all the money you will spend. They won't have to pay the judgment or your legal fees up front. And Star Trek did that with the video game they stole for Star Trek Discovery, Tardigrade.
Yeah. See, this is why movies cost roughly around $600 million, because you've got to pay $200 million for like all the effects and your actors and whatnot, another $200 million for promotion, media promotion, like all over the world, all over the country and whatnot, and then the other $200 million for paying all the lawyers and they're damn good crooked lawyers, because they
are actually
copyrights. Yes, they are, and
we sniffed up that legal strategy.
Yep,
that legal strategy that this guy called asymmetric warfare absolutely is. He's used everybody with a pencil and a piece of paper as a force multiplier. It was a brilliant legal ploy, and he absolutely spent some money getting well advised. Like, I don't really own this, but I feel defamed, and they're like, well, try this.
And this is why whenever you hear now in the news that, this movie made so far like, 120 or maybe $250 million, that's chump change. They haven't even made their money back. At least, they have to get beyond that $600 million mark. and then they actually start making money, depending on how much they spent on, and within their budget and whatnot for actors and effects and promotion and blah blah blah.
It used to
right?
be half the cost of the movie was the half of the cost of publicity. So if your movie was 280, you'd spend about 140, 120 in there on publicity, millions.
Yeah, exactly.
But I would just say this: we're seeing a post Hollywood kind of world now, without traditional media and with traditional media, but without traditional like promotions. Like no stars could go out and promote these. So we're hearing from the worst people that we could ever hear from, the people who wrote these movies. They're telling us exactly what they were thinking, and wow, it's making it hard to sell them.
At least we don't have to look at Brie Larson. So
let me just or her toes. Let me just throw this one right out there for you guys. Just you don't have to answer it. Maybe when you think on it for a minute. When it comes down to the PR budget and the advertising costs, right?
Yeah.
Coca-Cola. How long would they have to completely stop advertising for it to start to erode the sales? I don't think it would happen. I think you'd be into month 13 before they're like Coca-Cola down 0.25% in overall sales, because it just sells itself. And I'm not saying take down any, but all you have to do is, you don't have to take the label off the can, but like take the Coca-Cola signage down. And let's say they give the money to like the homeless for like a whole year. One way to eliminate homelessness, but two, Pepsi might break even for the first time ever.
Yeah, probably. So it goes on. In my template for radical reform of those laws, I would like it if any IP is owned by its original creator for up to 20 years from a point of first publication, and then goes into the public domain for any and all to use. However, at any time before that 20-year span bleeds out, you, the IP owner, can sell it to another person or corporate entity who have the exclusive rights of it for up to a maximum of 10 years. That's it.
Yeah, okay. He listened to his lawyer. Then he smoked crack, because this is far less rights than he has right now.
Then it cannot be resold. It goes into public domain. And then at the most, any intellectual property can be kept for exclusive use for up to about 30 years and no longer without exception. It's not a bad idea,
I think the current 75 might just be more fair, though. Honestly.
Probably.
What happens if you write a song today, right? And you go out there and you're on tour, and it takes 28 years, right? And then your song breaks big. And after 25 months, like, everybody can just copy your song and you don't get a dime. Like, it should be outside your lifespan, or at least outside your career span. Like, let's say, like, we grant you 50 years from the writing, so that, like, if you write it when you're 20, you get most of your career out, because God knows the Rolling Stones get by on the highest licensing fee in the world is their version of Satisfaction with mixed lyrics, and it goes down proportionately. If someone else does a song, it's less. If there's no lyrics, it's less than that. If you don't play the hook, it's less than that, and that's how intellectual property works.
Yep. But you know what? I can see, because I do know. Let's see. Years ago, it used to be, I believe, 50 years. Then Disney got their little mitts into Congress. It's like, no, we really need to extend this. Yeah, we really need to extend this.
They got 15 years.
And then,
15 years, right?
15. Yeah, I believe it was an additional 15 years.
So because it was 75 years, and they're getting up to like 82 years, because it took 2 years for them to figure out what to do as well.
Yeah. They want to keep Mickey Mouse out of public domain, so
that's plus
with the thing of declaring corporations being able to be persons. So you have a corporation with personhood. You can just keep reapplying for that whatever.
But remember,
copyright protection.
Right.
We have to remember it's the first. It's only. Sorry, just very quickly. It's only the very first iteration of Mickey that we get. It's only Steamboat Willie Mickey. Right. He may have to wear the hat. Like, everything may have. Yeah, I don't know. Like, the Mickey that we know right off the bat as the recognizable modern Mickey, I guess, is just a little bit after World War II.
A little bit, yeah. Because I think currently now I might be wrong. Hopefully, I'm not wrong, but I might be wrong. But I think currently, right now, it's 75 years, and I think
Yep.
Disney wants to push it even further to an even 100.
Yeah.
And I believe Congress
if they
is
are
saying
around in 100
no.
years.
By
Yeah.
the way, I saw their backup plan to this. The Mickey Mouse ears silhouette. They've been adding inside that 3 circles. They've been adding Baby Yoda heads silhouette.
Oh, there we
that might be their next attempt at branding. Yeah, that's from a couple of years back, but I don't think it's
Wow.
gonna. Yeah, it's fizzling, right? Because they're killing Star Wars, and they might have to sell it.
Yeah. Stephen Ransom, yeah, he told me a story about a parachute company that sued a law show. They had the same name. The show had a character die in a parachute failure. Oh crap!
Ooh,
Damn.
yeah,
Yeah,
I can see that.
nasty. So
I gotta be careful
yeah.
with those
It
names.
depends what happened
So-
first.
so-
I mean, it's been
so
a
I can-
long time since it happened. That's why I think Pinochet's helicopter tours is a great YouTuber name.
yeah. So I can see this being, pretty reasonable for an IP owner that, wants to sell it, just for a max of 10 years. And,
Yep.
and yada, yada, yada after that. That's entirely reasonable, because if somebody or even a corporate entity can say, you know what, we got a really good idea for this, and, totally up to the IP owner can say, you know what, okay,
Plus,
10 years.
only got-
10
we
years
only
is
got
not
10
enough
years.
time.
Yeah.
10
No,
years
it's
is just
not.
not enough time.
But
25
is
is close.
fast.
But think about this: in 10 years, right? It takes you a year one. You start your idea, right? People are watching you. If I find out that, like, I don't know, you're someone good, someone successful, like not Zack Snyder or J.J. Abrams, someone good. This is 1985, and you're Steven Spielberg. If I find out that you're writing a movie about a robot that has a short circuit of sorts, I will try to write another movie that is. If you write E.T., I'm starting Mac and Me at the same time. So, like, if you don't have that kind of copyright, Mac and Me will just be called The Other E.T. or E2 TOO, ET2 TOO, and it would be in the theater at the same time. And yet, no, because it's year 3 before anyone else's ideas make it to inception. This guy is projecting his particular experience on everyone else. Again, why write a song that's going to take you 3 years to get to the world if you then get to only control it for 6 or 7? You know what? Frank Sinatra would have just said, "It's been 6 years. I don't have control of my songs anymore. I give up." It's too short a time. I like the concept.
With that
That's
idea,
right.
imagine the
And a Bud Light.
Terminatrix alongside the Terminator. That would have been interesting. Anyway,
Oh, that would have been interesting.
but no,
I have the porn
Yeah.
version. She turns herself into liquid scissors.
to do with trademarks, I find it changed when, if anybody remembers Metallica and LimeWire and all those, I find it became more stringent after that. Like they really changed the game. And as a gamer,
Metallica was at it before that. Metallica was trying to take lawsuits against normal people for home taping too. Their drummer fucking sane though.
Lars is an ass.
Way
I love the
back
rest of the
in
band.
the day.
Yeah, Lars.
Yeah.
Call him by his proper name. Call him by his proper name. Mr. Connie Nielsen is a fucking idiot.
But as a streamer, I can say this too. As a person that streams games and stuff, I find, like, even if you have 30 seconds of a song, you'll have your whole stream taken down. And Nintendo's the worst. If you stream Nintendo without their permission, they'll take your whole videos down. Like,
you have to look for the option that takes off the music. I've heard is one of the things.
But Nintendo in general, you can't even stream Nintendo unless you have the rights.
And by the way, music copyrights, as far as fair use, far different. It's not. It's 2 measures back to back.
And
So
also,
I
I want to
can't-
say hey to Ray Lucard that just dropped in.
Hello. And if I whistle the X-Files theme, I could have Mike's this stream would then be probably demonetized.
Yeah, which is
exactly.
stupid. I find it's gone over. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, that pendulum's definitely swung too far the other way. Yeah, that pendulum definitely swung the other way too far.
Yeah.
And this to me makes me think that the creator is trying to exert rights over his characters he's created. And I didn't read this particular article, but I think I read a little bit of another one where it said DC lawyers are still trying to assert themselves and say, well, you can do that with those characters, but we won't allow it on these other characters. That's a no-no.
Exactly.
Well,
He's
I would
like-
say
yeah.
this:
He's
like,
like, no, I
Superman
wrote
is
those
one
characters
thing.
as well, so I'm going to have a
Well-
say in what I do with those characters.
Yes.
DC's Hercules and DC's, Athenian warriors is one thing, but DC's Superman has got a lot more uniqueness. This is not like Thor or some lifted piece of mythology.
Right.
It doesn't belong to everyone already. But
No,
the
exactly.
thing that this comic book is actually belong to everyone, and the only thing he owns is his iteration.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, it goes on to say, of course, if I'm going to believe such radical ideas, what kind of hypocrite would I be if I didn't practice them? Fables has been my baby for about 20 years now. It's time to let it go because, like I said, he's like 67. This is my first test of the process. If it works, and I see no legal reason why it won't, look for other properties to follow in the future. Since DC or any other corporate entities don't actually own the property, they don't get a say in this decision.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an opinion right there. That's his opinion. That is still up in the air.
Yes.
Legally,
Yeah.
that is up in the air.
He is
And may I-
practicing what
totally-
he preaches, so that's something.
May
That's
I just
right.
compliment him on his gambit? He has never been, but okay, I don't know if all things are even, right? He's never been as good as an artist as he is right now. He's 67. He could do this for 15 to 25 more years before he might have a problem. Hopefully, God willing, hopefully, maybe he makes it to 85, right? Maybe he has 15 years in him. Maybe he does it at his own pace for a greater fee. He's increased his fame. He's known as a voice of the independent artist now. And his title that he brought to prominence is going to get new life in the hands of independents. He's going to make some money off of this, more than he would have if he had just laid down and taken it. So it's a very audacious gambit, but he can't lose, since it was just either lose money fighting them or lose no money and let them fight the world. And the world's going to win.
So the question, what exactly has DC Comics done to provoke this? So he answers, too many things to list exhaustively, but here are some highlights. Throughout the years of my business relationship with DC, with Fables, and with other intellectual properties, DC has always been in violation of their agreements with me. Usually, it's in the smaller matters, like forgetting to seek my opinion on artists for other news stories, or for covers or formats of new collections and such. And those times when it was when called on it, they automatically said, "Sorry, we overlooked you again." It just fell through the cracks. They use the "fell through the cracks" line so often and so reflexively that I eventually had to bar them from using it ever again. They are often late reporting royalties, and I'm going to get into that with somebody else also on Thursday, so pay attention to that show. And often underreport said royalties, forcing me to go after them to pay the rest of what's owed. Oh boy,
That's pretty mean.
Yeah,
Pay
sounds
the
pretty
writer.
epidemic with
Yeah,
DC.
pay
Just give the
the
guy his
writer.
money. Yeah. I knew a guy who did comic book illustrations starting in the 80s, right? He was doing it right out of college. He was a little older than me. I knew his wife, right? And it's a prominent name and a prominent company. And he, for all his success, he couldn't maintain living in New York, not even the New York area. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with living elsewhere, but like once technology allowed it, he was like, I got to leave New York or I'll never have any money. And that guy was pretty successful in working all the time. So it's a rough business. The guy I knew who was less successful was like 46 years old and lived in like someone's garage and just barely got by and worked 2 jobs and never slept because they were illustrating all night to do their passion. And then their job was just their grind to pay their bills. And what is it? A going rate is about 80 to 120 a page. If you're great, 120. If you're new, 60.
Yeah, it might be a little bit more now. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's quite the rate.
It's
so
the people who write these comic books now. Now the comic books look like the people are getting paid that amount, but it didn't used to be that way.
No, it didn't. And this is, like I said, on Thursday. So everybody in the chat, please pay attention, whether on Rumble or here on YouTube. Yes, Stay
whole
tuned for that
thing,
Thursday interview, because Al Nickerson, the guy that I'm going to be interviewing, also worked for DC, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, they were just happened to be quote unquote late, or the royalties, the check just happened to be missing, maybe in the mail or something like that." So this is not
That'll
the
be
first
cool.
person to be reporting this. So and we're going to be getting into that on my interview with him this Thursday. So please come
I would
to
lob a
that
grenade.
interview and
Yeah.
and ask those questions out there, because this really needs to get out. So
Yeah, that whole
I
thing
would
about
ask,
paying
I would ask them
royalties.
this.
no, go ahead,
Yeah.
Pop.
Okay. Now that whole thing about paying royalties really reminds me of a Harlan Ellison rant from way back in the day. Pay the writers. That was probably a
Exactly.
classic rant of his.
Yep.
You do something, you pay the writer.
Yep. That's right. Because they're the ones doing the job. They're the ones that are, pulling the heavy weight. They're the ones that make the publication go, right? Without any of that, without your artists, without your writers, without your inkers, without your colorists, without the people that do the breakdowns or anything like that, what do you got? You got literally nothing.
Yep.
You have nothing. So,
I would ask you this: are you going to ask him this question point blank? Just, and it's your interview. I'm not trying to horn in here, but like I would say, like, if you want to be audacious, be like, lost houses and broken marriages because the company fought people tooth and nail for the last penny and just made their life miserable and had them a little too broke. Do you know anybody? And just like sit back and see what happens.
oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, I imagine there's a tsunami of people.
Know anybody who lost their wife over something like this, like chasing too many checks at once?
Yeah. And I
An hour later. Well, thank you for the interview. I'm Mike Lorber.
Yeah, exactly. I got my list. So it goes on. Lately, through their practices, have grown beyond these mere annoyances, promoting some sort of showdown. First, they tried to strong arm the ownership of Fables for me when Mark Doyle and Dan DeVito, Dio, first approached me with the idea of bringing Fables back for its 20th anniversary. Both gentlemen since fired from DC. During the contract negotiations for the new issues, their legal negotiators tried to make it a condition of the deal that the work be done as work for hire, effectively throwing the property irrevocably into the hands of DC. So basically, DC would hire you to do the work. They own the work then, right? That's what work for hire is, right? So when that didn't work, their excuse was, sorry, we didn't read your contract going into these negotiations. We thought we owned it. Right.
This isn't this a same sort of situation that led to the creation of Image Comics?
Yeah,
the artists
pretty
leaving
close.
Marvel and DC and creating their own thing.
It was pretty close. What it was with the guys leaving Image, it's because they I mean, look at it this way. When for example, when Todd McFarlane sold 1 million copies of Spider-Man 1 when that came out, or Rob Liefeld sold X-Force #1, or Jim Lee was selling X-Men #1 when that got released. I mean, they were in the millions of copies. Spider-Man, Todd McFarlane Spider-Man #1 sold 1 million copies. Rob Liefeld's X-Force and Jim Lee's X-Men sold like 10 million copies. And here's the thing. They got $1 for every copy that sold. Okay. Now, the thing is with Marvel, they would generally pay like a year later, right? Because they had to wait and count all the books that actually sold, and that took time back in the day, right? But the
could
thing
you
was,
imagine?
is because so how do you think they had all that kind of money to start up Image?
So why do you live in a homeless shelter? I'm an alcoholic. Oh, I'm a comic book artist. I'll be out of here in about 53 more weeks.
But here's the thing is, Marvel was making a ton of cash off of their artwork, putting it on T-shirts, on posters, and everything like that. And they really didn't see a lot of that money for those royalties, right? And that was the whole problem. So they went over to DC. They were going to talk to DC and say, you know what? Hey, we kind of want the same deal that we got with Marvel going on, except, we want to add into our contract that, for all the stuff that you put our artwork on, we want a piece of that pie as well. And DC was like, no.
Yeah.
They actually did that. And so Liefeld,
The art's the only thing
McFarlane,
that's
all
right.
of them,
contestable.
Valentino, they're like, screw this, we'll do our own thing, and that's how Image was born, right?
Yep,
So
that's it.
So that's the whole thing. They got $1 per copy sold, and that's how they ended up with a ton of cash actually in their pockets. And while they were waiting during that time, I mean, they were still making money even on the books that they were waiting to get paid from before that, before X-Men, before Jim Lee's X-Men #1 came out, before Rob Liefeld's X-Force came out, before Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man came out. They were still making quite a lot of money because those books were huge sellers.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Plus, there are so many alternate covers or whatever.
Oh,
especially
yeah.
with X-Men. X-Men had like what, 4 or 5 or 6
5 covers
books you
plus,
had to
plus the big giant
Buy them,
gatefold.
yeah.
yeah,
And
you had to buy them all, because once
Yep.
you bought them all, you'd put them together and they'd have that stupid panoramic image.
Exactly. And X-Force #1, it had like all
Yep.
the trading cards inside that were all pre-bagged, and you wanted to get all those cards and stuff like that, and no wonder. And the gimmick worked. Let's face it.
It
right?
worked. It was the
Yeah,
I'm
90s
guilty.
gimmick
Yep.
cover era.
I did it. So yeah.
Same here. I did too. You know, and I'm not ashamed of saying it. Yeah, of
No.
course, because
Yeah.
of the gimmick, we all wanted it.
I
So,
sold plenty of books. I sold
oh, I
plenty of
know.
those books.
oh, so did I.
Oh man.
More recently, during the talks to try to work out our many differences, DC officers, I love that word, DC officers, admitted that their interpretation of our publishing agreement and the following media rights agreement is that they could do whatever they wanted with the property. They could change the stories or the characters in any way they wanted. They had no obligation whatsoever to protect the integrity and value of the IP, either from themselves or from third parties, like Telltale Games, for instance, who want to radically alter the characters, settings, histories, and premise of the story. I've seen the script they tried to hide from me for a couple of years, nor did they owe me any money for licensing Fable's rights to third parties. Oh my, really? Since such a license wasn't anticipated in our original publishing agreement. Well, see, that in the future you got to think of as well if you ever want to do this kind of thing too, right? About your rights to third parties that publish, stuff like this, right? So when they capitulated on some of the points in a later conference call, promising on the phone to pay me back monies owed for licensing Fables to Telltale Games, for example, in the execution of the new agreement, they reneged on their word and offered to the promised amount instead as a consulting fee, which avoided the precedent of admitting that this was money owed, and included a non-disclosure agreement that would prevent me from saying anything but nice things about Telltale or the license. Wow. So basically, if they turn your creation to crap, you can't say anything mean because it's in your contract.
Exactly.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yep. And so on. There's so much more, but these, as I said, are some of the highlights. At that point, since I disagreed on all the new interpretations of our long-standing agreements, we were in conflict. They practically dared me to sue them to enforce my rights, knowing that it would be a long and deliberating process. Instead, I began to consider other ways to go. Wow.
Well, exactly. The artists can't afford to litigate and stuff.
No.
Unfortunately, these companies can just keep it in court forever. And
No, there's that stereotype of the starving artist. That's
exactly.
Artists are
it's
typically
very real.
bad at artists are typically bad at marketing and business.
Yes,
yeah,
they are. Unless they definitely have that, that business savvy. And let's face it, not a lot of them do, unfortunately.
But Madonna and Mick Jagger, the only two musicians who knew what the fuck they would do with their money.
Kiss and their marketing.
Kiss.
Oh, they're
Gene
legends at it. They're good at it.
Simmons. Gene Simmons was a businessman, man. He doesn't drink, but when I was at the nightclub he walked into, he bought drinks to the house just for his image. Probably
Oh,
wrote it
of
off the
course.
Kiss expense account too.
Well, how many trademarks does Gene own?
Oh yeah.
He owns the word
really.
axe.
Yeah.
He owns the word axe when it's applied to a guitar, which is
Yeah.
one of the number one nicknames for a guitar. Like, bring me my axe.
Yeah.
And you can't make a guitar and call it an axe without his being
Without his-
paid.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, he owns.
Really?
Well, you can.
Seriously, yeah.
Well,
Wow.
I own several phrases
lame.
myself. I have copyrighted and own several phrases and have some intellectual property of my own. That's why I know some of this shit.
And for that, we're glad you're here. So let's see. Let's just take a brief intermission here, seeing how we're at the 1 hour mark.
Commercial break.
Commercial
Omega
break.
Mart time.
That's right. Here we go. There you go.
Huh?
Something surreal for everybody.
I
Again,
love Asian
what?
commercials. Asian commercials are the best.
Exactly.
In college, there was a band called the Dead Milkmen, and
I
they would.
remember them.
I remember them. I remember them.
And son, when you see your mom, tell her Satan, 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 Satan. I mean, it was
Yeah.
all like really messed up. I think their big hit is Punk Rock Girl, but that's their least eccentric song, and that's pretty eccentric. That's how weird Omega Mart is. It's as weird as the Dead Milkmen.
I was
Mhm.
getting flashbacks from Max Headroom, the whole blip vert.
Yes.
Trust me, being a
I
fortunate,
need a sip of vape juice flavored soda after
many
that.
nights I've relaxed. I watch a lot of commercials from Japan and other around the world, and they're far out there that would you'd be like,
They
"What?"
are.
It's just amazing.
And they have our celebrities, right? Foggy Brains. There's like it'll be
Oh,
like,
Oh, yeah.
it'll be like,
Arnold
"Hi, I'm Nicole
Schwarzenegger did
Richie
one.
for Sega Cameras." Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
So,
By the way, guys, quick question. Drew Barrymore's back, right? Now, whether
Yeah.
well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. For better
Yeah.
or for worse, is the reason that show goes on without writers far less principled than we're being led to believe. Is it not, in fact, that the Drew Barrymore show is nothing more than an infomercial paid for?
yeah.
I think she's
Or
been
selling a
mean
diet.
now, so it probably won't be back.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's
I
the
don't
dream.
know that. I think the idea was she went out there and tried to sell more, because when she's not on, she's just not on. Like, she's either promoting something or there's no Drew
Mhm.
Barrymore show, or it's a rerun of a previous. And there are limited reruns. Like, that's another commercial. Like, the Drew Barrymore
Yeah.
show is honestly very sketch. Like, it's always like, you
man.
have
Oh God! Oh man! Oh God! Oh man!
what I'm saying is, PR guys who write the copy about why you should buy a product do not necessarily, have to be regarded as Writers Guild members. And the typical guest is someone along the lines of Gwyneth Paltrow, and they're just like, "Your vagina candle, very safe." Oh, so safe.
Oh God.
Never seen an episode.
And that's
of
the
it, and
level of
probably never will at this point.
You know what? I was just shocked to see her on. This show's only on 2 years or so. I was shocked to see the Drew Barrymore show come across my screen as a graphic, so I kept with it. Drew looks, great, I guess. But the thing was, like, it was something really weird. It was like, I'm talking to my friends, and I forget who it was, but it was someone of relative prominence, right? Like Queen Latifah or someone like that. I don't know who it was, honestly, but she's like, and she's just gotten healthy with the so-and-so diet. How'd you do it, Queen Latifah? It was like nothing personal, nothing about her life, nothing about anything outside of career. It was just like this diet, and whoever the person was, I'm using Queen Latifah as a straw man or a straw person argument. But you know what I'm saying? Like every Drew, and then like the next time I saw it, I was like, let me just test this theory. And yeah, so I watch about 5 to 8 minutes of every Drew Barrymore show. It's just her asking people to either promote their book without asking critical questions, promote their product without. So like, you travel a lot, like, oh, do a lot of travel and executive for one of the major beverage companies, major. Okay, well, we don't want to name them, but what did you invent? I invented a neck travel pill. I invented a travel pillow for the neck, and that's like the next 45 minutes of that. So one of the reasons why Drew Barrymore could come back was I think it was simply an infomercial. And what's crazy is think about this: during the infomercial, there were commercials that people paid money because it was the Drew Barrymore show. What's more capitalist than that, though? It's not that entertaining, but it's capitalist.
It's sad. That's what it is.
She should be allowed to come back if she wants to and do whatever she has the freedom of speech to do it. But that was just my judgment of it. I'm not condemning or endorsing what she did. I'm just saying that's my take from watching the show a few times. Didn't seem like it was as serious as The View. In other words, I didn't really take it too seriously. I thought it was kind of a performance.
Wait, The View is serious?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they're also no. But what I'm saying is both sell things.
No.
Right. So carrying on, the next question that was posted to him were: are you concerned? What will Are you concerned at what DC will do now? So plain and simple, he said, no. I gave them years to do the right thing. I tried to reason with them, but you can't reason with the unreasonable. They used these years to make soothing promises, tell lies about how dedicated they were towards working this out, and keep dragging things out as long as possible. I gave them an opportunity to renegotiate the contracts from the ground up, putting everything in unambiguous language, and they ignored that offer. I gave them the opportunity twice.
Very quickly to put that in English for people, translated out of legalese. I have brought peace and security to my new empire.
Yeah. So I gave them the opportunity twice to simply tear up our contracts, and we each go our separate ways. They ignored those offers. I tried to go over their heads to deal directly with their new corporate masters and maybe find someone willing to deal in good faith, and they blocked all attempts to do so. Try getting around any officer at DC Comics to identify who they report to up the company ladder. I dare you, he says. Oh, yeah, I bet you won't get past those gatekeepers. In any case, without giving them details, I warned them months in advance that this moment was coming. I told them I was about to what I was about to do would be both legal and ethical. Now it's happened, he said.
On this specific point, because of the nature of the property, that is 100% accurate.
Yep. That's right. You gave him fair warning. And
he was holding all the cards this time. They should have been like, we'll make you a slightly better deal. I don't even think he was extorting them. I think he was like, look, just give me like a little more.
Exactly. Just give me my fair dues.
We stole this together. Listen, I robbed the bank. I went into the bank with a gun and a note, but you stayed in the car and you drove me to the airport. So we're cool. But you know what? We have to make a new deal if we're going to re-rob this bank, because we didn't come up with these, creatures from myth, people from Joseph Campbell books. Books show Joseph Campbell talks about some of these characters.
Yeah. I mean, because, some of these things were going to be shared to a third-party company. And all he's saying is like, you know what? Give me the dues for those too, because this is the creation that I made. And here you are going to a third-party company and, and using them to do their thing. Well, where's my take on that? Right? Nothing wrong with asking for a little bit more if it's due to you, honestly. And, well, like you said, he gave him fair warning. He's like, okay, fine. Well, then that's it, right?
Two words there together, though. Business and ethics. It doesn't seem going together in modern.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to go together nowadays.
I would say if his lawyer was Roger Daltrey, he would say, I'm talking about my iteration. So if they wanted to do it the way he did it with his look and just throw characters out there that were exactly the way let's say he took someone like, Apollo, and he updated him for what was this, 1990s, right? So 1990s American Apollo. So basically young me. At any rate, he's, they want to do it just like his. They want to change anything. He's distinctive. He's like an anime character or something like that. He's got some distinctiveness. He's not Bugs Bunny. He's not that. He's Daffy Duck. You know what you see when you see it. He wants his share for that, or he wants you to go take the whole thing back to formula and write your own new story of these commonly owned legends. But if you're going to take his iteration and try to make it yours without compensating him, he's going to give his part of it away and let you try to fight him back. He's done a great job. The whole world's his posse.
So he says, note that my contracts with DC Comics are still in force. I did nothing to break them. I cannot unilaterally end them. I still can't publish Fables comics through anyone but them. I still can't authorize a Fables movie through anyone but them. Nor can I buy licensed Fable toys, nor lunchboxes or anything else. And they still have to pay me for the books they publish. And I'm not giving up on the other money they owe. One way or another, I intend to get my 50% of the money they've owed me for years for the Telltale game and other things. However, you, the new 100% owner of Fables, never signed such agreements. For better or worse, DC and I are still locked together in this unhappy marriage, perhaps for all time. But you aren't, he says.
Wow.
You.
So can I take it one step further? So not only are they talking about his iteration, to take the Who analogy one step further, he don't mind other guys dancing with this girl. But, then there's some conditions, he knows you all pretty well, but, sometimes.
Yeah.
Just a little nudge, wink, wink to everybody,
Exactly.
The kids are all right, but you're going to have to, if you're going to dance with this girl, give them some gas money or buy them a couple of drinks.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, if you want to come up with your own version of Superman, you're perfectly free to do so.
Yeah.
If you're going to peg me, put on some nice music first. Maybe buy me a drink.
But that's what he says. But you aren't. You people, you guys out there in the chat or watching this on the rewind, and
what do you mean?
Just please hit the like and subscribe and spread button, because it would really help out this channel and all that kind of stuff that I say usually. And to any mods out there, if you can spread this channel, that would just help tremendously to help this keep on going. So he says, if I understand the law correctly, and be advised that copyright law is a mess. Purposely vague and murky, and no two lawyers,
he's right,
not even those specializing in copyright and trademark laws, agree on anything. You have the right to make your Fables movies and cartoons and publish your own Fables books and manufacture your Fables toys and do anything you want with your property, because it's your property. Mark Buckingham is free to do his version of Fables, and I dearly hope he does. Steve Leilola is free to do his version of Fables, which I'd love to see, and so on. You don't have to get my permission, but you might get my blessing depending on your plans. You don't have to get DC's permission or the permission of anyone else. You never signed the same agreements I did with DC Comics. It was an absolute joy and pleasure to bring you Fables stories for the past 20 years, and I look forward to seeing what you do with it.
Well played. I want to say that.
You say that.
Nice.
No, I mean, well played. No, I didn't mean you. I meant him, like the writer.
Yeah.
Audacious legal stand, very, very well advised. This showed some canniness. He knew what he was doing. He didn't want his iteration used without him making some money. And you know what? Like, he was never going to get full price for this, just like you don't get full price for developing Thor, because it existed already. But so he was already probably getting a reduced fee. I feel that this was him seeking justice, and I think he played the game quite well. Well played, sir. And you know what? He played it with his he played fair. He backed off his opponent when they were down. He's like, look, I've got the rights, stay down. And they got back up. So he loaded up. He's like, listen, if you do this, I'm going to give you the world army. If you complain once more, you'll see an army of me. And they complained. Then he's like, okay, here I come.
It goes to show these giants, yes, as powerful as they are, you can work around them and beat them if you want.
Mm-hmm.
That's
in this case too,
they Trauma Warrior, how's it going?
Hey,
I just
hello.
spent the last 6 hours fixing a spinal fracture. Oh God,
goodness,
ooh,
damn!
I'm so. That's the work of the Lord.
Yeah, Exactly. Well, I'm glad that you're now relaxing watching
Wow.
this. So, how did that go? And also,
Hopefully
hail to
well.
Franco Walker. How's it going, Mr. Franco Walker? Glad to see you here. Wow, 6 hours fixing a spinal fracture. Dang, she's like a mechanic with bodies. I love Wendy. But you know what, guys? To any of you that happen to be watching this, like on Rumble, guys on Rumble, I hope to hear from you in the chat. But also those of you who might be watching this on the rewind on Rumble or YouTube, if you're a creator, there's your ticket. Write your stories, and he asks, if you
Oh, thank you. I thought you were going to say
shadow.
I thought you were going to say shatter your spine. I'm like, no, my
Yeah, no.
pull out of this analogy now.
Yeah.
There's his email, and please include Fables public domain, and write him if this is something that you're interested in doing. Just continuing on with the whole Fables story. Wendy Trauma Warrior says surgery went well. Patient's spinal cord is intact.
Well, that's good.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're going to walk, most likely. That's such good news. And thank you so much, Wendy Trauma Warrior, for being there when people need you. I hope to never need the services of a trauma surgeon. I hope to go through life with no trauma. And, but for those of us who do, and I've seen it, it's hard to even look at. I was at a trauma ward on Christmas when someone got hurt. And I saw some people who'd been in a couple of car crashes. That's a Christmas in Nam, as I like to call it. So if you could do that every day, God bless you and thank you so much. Our society can't function without certain people who do these jobs, and they very quietly make our world spin that much smoother, as smooth as it can be, because it's an imperfect world. Screws fall out.
Ooh, and we got Snorted Poopus. That dropped
Snorted.
Hey.
How
Hello.
to you? Glad to see you here, Snorty. Wendy, if I ever need some shiatsu, I am coming to you once I visit Texas. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So, but no, this is good. It's about time that somebody took some proverbial balls, as it were, and really stick it to DC and say, you know what? Yeah, screw you guys. You can't do me good, then forget it. Okay, I'm taking my toys.
At this point,
I'm taking my toys and I'm going.
Yeah,
And
at this
also,
point, I'd almost say the whole entertainment industry. We need to stop consuming what they're trying to feed us and make our own. Anybody out there who's a creator, writer, novelist, comic book artist, now is the time to make your own and put it out there. We need something to compete with them, a parallel entertainment industry, because what we have now is probably going to slowly die on the vine.
Exactly.
And I'd also say this: if you're going to be leading into this sort of trouble, if you see the winds blowing the wrong way, it's only $200 or $300 to get a relatively qualified piece of legal advice. While I realize this is a lot of money, it may be well worth going into debt for. Now, this guy had the money, and he got more than $200 or $300 worth of legal advice. But in life, it basically comes down to, if you go to in America, at least, I don't know what can't speak for other countries, but he who gets the wisest legal advice first and gets there the firstest with the mostest gets out of it with the advantage, the upper hand, and the most cash. You just have to be able to play a waiting game of up to like 3 years in the American system or more.
Exactly. So,
it takes
who
a
wants
long
a good
time.
laugh?
Oh, me. We're going back to a Mega Mart?
You're close. We're going to be talking about the Marvels.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Oh, the agony of defeat.
Oh.
Yes. Because we just can't get enough about the Marvels.
Spanning the world to bring you Brie Larson's toe.
Exactly. The Marvels director, Nia DaCosta, unsurprisingly plays racism and sexism card in promotion of the Marvels.
Wow.
Like I said, we're sending out the writers and the directors, and they're even less instructable than the actors.
Exactly. So guess what? Because you can already see this happening now. All right, because if this is coming out now, okay, you know that first of all, A, the Marvels is going to be a humongous flop. B, they're going to be blaming it on everybody else that for being sexist and racist.
It's
Right?
the
May I
folks.
just, may I just say though?
So you
this
can
is how
instantly see where this is going. Okay.
But this is also how this looks, guys. This is exactly how this looks. Rewind in time a little bit. Clint Eastwood. Hey, so your new movie, The Enforcer, isn't Dirty Harry. What do you say to people who would prefer to see you a cop as Dirty Harry? Well,
yeah.
First of all, want to say we need to defund the police.
Yeah.
You know, it's like fucking self-destructive statement.
Wow.
And I hate everybody who thinks otherwise.
Yep. So here we go. So the Marvel's new director, or I shouldn't say new director, but director, or nearest facsimile thereof, Nia DaCosta surprisingly played the racism and sexism card while promoting the upcoming film of the Marvels coming up. So yes, because we just gotta have strong, independent women that are just gonna be saving the entire universe because that's what it's all about. It would
racist, sexist card. It just sounds.
Wow.
It does. It
In
does.
the game of
It
life,
would
I drew the racist and sexist cards. What did you get? Well, I've got the patriarchy, so I win.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this reminds me of that Charlie's Angel movie where they said if you're a white male, don't bother seeing the movie. And it's like, okay, nobody showed up. Why didn't white males see the movie?
Exactly.
They did that both movies.
Yeah. Smile and wave.
Wait, which Charlie's Angels? Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle.
The new.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart, you're a beautiful woman. Please stop making yourself ugly before the movies, and please stop talking to the press.
So it would not be a promotion for a Walt Disney movie film without someone playing a victim card, and DaCosta made sure the Marvels would not be an exception. Of course, because nobody wants to be left out. Speaking with Vanity Fair, DaCosta stated, "Sometimes as a black woman, you realize that people think that you take up more space than you actually do, or your voice sounds louder or to people than it actually is, or your tone is more stern than it actually is." So DaCosta added that some crew members on previous sets she worked on said things that are super inappropriate that you would just never say to anyone else because they were so specific to my gender, race, and my age. Oh God. Really?
Oh, goodness.
They were that specific. Oh my
I love you, but your American accent sucks.
So what? I know it does. So
what the hell was that supposed to be? Where were you from?
I don't know. I just came out like that. I don't know why. I'm just, you know what? I'm picturing her like Scarlett from Gone with the Wind, but as a black woman. I don't know why. It just came out that way. So
not
not
all Americans are Southern women,
no, that's true.
Mike.
So
I identify as a Northeast metrosexual male.
Back in the bus, Teague. So, but what you're saying, so specific to my gender, my race, my age, did they literally use your name specifically? Because it sounds like they literally used your name. So somehow I'm calling shenanigans on that statement whatsoever. So, while she did not provide any examples or any name of any names, of course not, right? No, that heaven forbid that she would name anyone. That would just be mean, right? Because calling out people would just be so, blasé. Vanity Fair's Rebecca Ford made it clear none of this happened on the set of Marvels. Oh, really? Okay. So she had a very different experience on the Marvels, fortunately, in part because she had the power to hire people she wanted for her team. DaCosta said, "I realized it wasn't ever going to be about how much power I amassed or how many movies I made or if I won awards. It was always just going to be the people that I surrounded myself with. The thing that I've been most surprised by lately is how much respect I'm getting from these middle-aged white dudes that I work with." Oh my God.
There it is, right there.
Oh,
White dude.
You know what? When you do an
Oh,
American lady,
jeez.
when you do an American lady, you sound like Dana Carvey as the church lady. I was trying to
Yeah,
home in
I
on
was
it.
thinking,
That's what it
something along the
Yeah,
lines of a
that was the also
tall
thing that popped in
Southern
my head.
accent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Hail Dead Man
that's,
Walking.
But I'll give you this: you stayed on point. You didn't drift off your accent. You stayed
Yeah,
with the
well
same.
done.
It was the same throughout. Like I could do a British accent, mate, but I can only do Mick or Keith, and after a while, I start to drift off my matrix.
Exactly. Hail Dead Man. How's it going, man? They're just Snortapoopus.
I like Snorty's last comment. The
I
bottom.
know. They're just pissed because no one is going to do a tight close-up of their butts as they walked away from camera like they did on the old TV show.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. Exactly. They're not toned enough. So, and
Cheeky.
yeah. Plus, on top of that, focusing on a teenager's butt, whoa, that might be crossing into some dangerous territory. So, Franco Walker, did they mention her weight or hair height?
Brie Larson now, or 'cause everyone else seems to have very, very flat hair. They all seem to have very flat hair in this
Maybe.
movie.
Yeah, probably.
It looks like grown out and combed down seems to be the look for this movie. Or for Monica Rambeau, she just had longer dreadlocks, right?
They
Or
really
braids.
need some
She had
perch.
braids.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not dreadlocks, braids. I didn't mean to I didn't mean to dead name her hairstyle.
Copious amounts of pert would help. So, for a more fuller body of hair, right? So, Wendy Trauma Warrior, my job never ends. Here to go. I have to go. Patients with multiple gunshot wounds inbound.
Oh my God!
Wow.
Oh God! Wow!
no.
You're
They-
just constantly
Thank
on
you
the
for
go.
being there when people
Yeah,
need
Wendy.
you. God bless you. Go with God.
Yeah.
And with that being said, have fun. So, so middle-aged white dudes that I work with. Oh my God! Cut. Okay.
That job just doesn't her job make Detroit cops sound like uncomplicated and relatively relaxing?
Yeah.
Yes. It
From
does.
spinal surgery to multiple gunshot wounds. That might be the same as a morning for a Detroit cop.
I think you're right. So, oh boy. But anyway, so not only
Here in
did
Metropolis.
not only did DaCosta play the racism and sexism card, but she also appeared to distance herself from the film by claiming it is actually Marvel Studios executive Kevin Feige's film. Oh, we're gonna be passing the buck now.
Oh,
No, I can.
But she directed this powerful woman movie. Shouldn't she?
I don't know though. This is the second person in a row to take.
Yeah.
They're all bad writers, but he might also be no help. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. So DaCosta discussed the advice she received from Black Panther director Ryan Coogler about just being herself when she was initially tapped to direct the film. She recalled, "You can't do anything but be yourself. So bring that to the table. They can choose to take some and leave some, but that's what your job is." So, yeah, okay.
Tiny
Clearly-
Tin.
Yes. So clearly, the implication here is that Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige have overriding story authority, especially when it comes to creating a final cut for the movie, right? So again, yeah. So DaCosta, it looks like to me, passing the buck to Kevin Feige, because if it's a big flop, it's his problem. But guaranteed, if it's a huge success, and that's a really big.
That's not happening.
No, that's not happening.
Right.
Then, but if it's a success, oh no, it's me because I'm a powerful Black woman of color, minority, probably gay or transsexual. On top of that probably hasn't come out in the news yet. But you'll just add on as.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with being any of those things. We're not saying that.
But
It's just
to
when
add
they
on
claim
that
it
many
as their
labels-
identity, it's just no.
Yes.
You're more than that.
I'll take it's both. I'll take it's both for 1,000, Alec.
Yeah. Killer Rabbit. Yeah, you humans be crazy. We are.
They
So,
sh-
but
They should
I
be
must
doing
warn
what
you,
they did
we
with
do
the
have a
Snow White
polar
film.
bear. So, yeah, exactly.
They
We
actually
do have a
canceled
polar
it.
bear.
Rumor is it's
we have
officially
two-
canceled.
About.
We
Yeah.
have 2 rabbits and a polar bear.
Yes, we have 2 rabbits and a polar bear. So we're literally becoming slowly
that
but
a-
surely Noah's Ark.
But
Isn't that a Beck
So-
song? Isn't that a song by Beck?
Probably.
off the track.
Because I know
Was
it's-
this film officially done? Like it's canned, it's in the can, it's ready to
Oh,
go.
it's in the
right?
can
I
because
think
it's
it
coming
is,
out in
yeah.
November.
Yeah, because the
It's
Snow White
on
film has
IMAX
been canceled.
now.
They did cancel
Yeah.
the Snow White film. They officially, it's not happening now. So I was
thank
hoping they do
God.
the same with this, but
It was only like 1/3 done. I think honestly that now that I see it being canceled, could it be that the outrageously bad press was they went rogue on their own and tried to get this movie funded anyway? Tried to pressure
Oh
the
yeah,
studio.
Yeah.
they'll
Thought
probably spend it like
Yeah.
thought they were
that.
woke. They thought they were woker and smarter than Disney, and they're like, "You might be, but nobody cares right now. Nobody at all."
Exactly. Furry quadrupeds rule. Exactly what I expect from Snorter Poopas. So
yes, they do.
No,
Yep.
with the
Oh,
yeah, because Darben, here you go. It's another race and gender swap character that was originally in Marvels, who was actually a pink Kree, so you could almost say like a white male on top of that. So that had to be retconned and gender and race swapped as well. So of course. So the article goes on.
Thinking that way sounds so fucking mentally exhausting. They must get to
Yeah.
bed so fucking tired at night when they hang upside down to the ceiling.
Does they're probably getting 12 hours of sleep.
Oh, the
because they
mental
really did it.
gymnastics to play these games nowadays is just pathetic. And just,
I know.
I'm talking like
I know,
they
right?
need to sleep like 18 hours a day and then 20 minutes out of every hour they're awake for. They're like
Yeah.
pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, later in the expose, Vanity Fair's Ford noted the film's post-production proved to be the most challenging, given the film needed to connect with Miss Marvel, the Disney Plus series, as well as lead into the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. To this end, DeCosta admitted, it's Kevin Feige production. It's his movie. So I think you live in that reality, but I tried to go in with the knowledge that some of you is going to take a back seat. Oh, really?
Right there.
wow,
Right there. Exactly.
Wait, I heard that being forced to take the seat and back was supposedly wrong and unjust. Why should
Ex-
some people have to do it now if no one would have to do it back then?
That
That sounds like a step backwards to this guy.
Yep.
Yeah, this really is setting it up. It's like, oh, if it fails, it's not my fault. It's somebody else's fault.
Oh, let's be
Yeah.
honest. It's the straight white males.
Yeah,
That's what they're going to
And
say.
this is
right.
the writer, or is it the director saying it? So something
Yeah.
allegedly of a wordsmith, someone who's supposed to understand these things, fucking this up just as good as any actor. Way to go!
Yep. Gap After Dark says, I say we make a Fraggle Rock movie and be done with it. I agree.
Yes.
I would
I'm all for
say
that.
yes. I want to play one of the king of the doozers. I will film that scene right now.
Yep. Real Wade Nation gaming clips. Gator fans are saying no to this for sure. Exactly.
You know what makes it all easier for me, Wade, is that I like the New York Jets. So I'm used to terrible. Oh, when Aaron Rodgers got hurt in the fourth snap, I was like, well, that lasted longer than I thought.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So what do you guys think? Yeah, playing the whole essentially gender.
It's
race,
a tired trope. It's
again.
almost a trope now because it's
Yeah, it is.
becoming a
It
constant
is.
regular thing. It's just I'm tired of it.
It is.
this is one of the things that will help make me just swear off superhero movies because I'm pretty much done with the genre.
Yeah.
I'm tired
Yeah.
of bad movies in general. I'm tired of being preached at. I'm tired of bad writing, bad direction, bad acting, bad actors.
Yeah.
Sorry that you're not okay with strong women.
You mean like Ripley or Buffy
How
or
dare you?
Sarah
I just
Connor, you know.
What? No, wait. Let's just remember when I got up on the left side of my bed this morning, because I am versus Christus. I took an oath to be all the things that we said we were, all the istophobic things, So it was time for an istophobic comment, and who better than me?
Ah, that's right. You had to make sure
Oh,
all the checks
wow.
were done. Yeah.
We had
So,
been a
but
little
that's
too nice for a little too long. We hadn't called anybody out. I figured I had.
Hey.
There you go.
Exactly. But
Uh-oh.
keeping
Oh,
on with
no.
the whole current Marvel thing, Netflix's Daredevil showrunner calls out Marvel's Born Again reboot as an old Disney scam meant to reset contract terms. Oh boy, this thing about contracts again. I can't wait. So, though
Oh.
Daredevil himself might be unable to see the showrunner of his former Netflix series, Stephen DeKnight recently took to opening audiences' eyes to the scam reasons behind Disney's upcoming Daredevil Born Again reboot. So, and as well as most of you know, I mean, the Netflix series really kicked ass. It was awesome.
Oh yeah.
So,
I love
and
it.
lots of us were hoping that this was going to be just a continuation of the Netflix series, which
But now it's a walk of shame. Wink, wink.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Walk of shame. Walk of shame.
So, the conversation, which would eventually draw forth DeKnight's frustrations with the House of Mouse, first began on September 17th, courtesy of Twitter user and claimed International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees member at T_NYC. Retweeting TV Line's announcement that HBO's Los Angeles Lakers bioseries Winning Time had been canceled after 2 seasons.
Are you finally ready to tell Mike? Are you finally ready to tell me what you tell people what you told me like 8 months ago about that? Don't. I know you have to be really careful about it, but and you just said it again in the private chat. So if you want to, I think you should just tell people. I don't know, just if you know about that.
I'm trying to remember which part it was. So
it's in what you just wrote in the private chat to me.
Oh, did I? Did I write?
You told, yeah. Mike. Do you smell? Do you smell almonds? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do. And burnt toast. So, yeah, but yeah, about the rumor that the new show is going to be like really corny and bad. So that's
I can believe it.
That's the direction everything is going.
This has changed hands at Disney, and the one thing that scares me the most is didn't they bring back Frank Miller for some really religious-looking Born Again artwork that was kind of dark and un-Disney?
I do believe so.
It was cool looking and shit. Yeah, here's my opinion. You ready? That was your flashbang grenade. This might just be what you said. It might be corny and dumb.
Yeah, it's going to be probably more than likely. Well, let's face it, it's going to be Disney-fied.
Yeah, everybody is racing to the bottom. Everybody is racing to the bottom, racing to embrace the suck.
Yeah,
I want to be number one loser. That's what it's going to be.
You can put a turd on a silver platter. People aren't going to say nice silver platter. They're going to be like, that's a turd.
Yeah, exactly. The only ones
embracing the suck is not always. Anyway,
yeah. So anyway, NYC lamented, do I have to post the thread again about how our IITSE contracts, base wages, raises, and
International Association of Theater that's the Theater Workers Union.
Thank you. Yes.
Or is it Teamsters? No, I think it's Theater Workers.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And that canceling shows before.
I'll Google that.
Rebooting shows and all the nonsense is about undercutting workers. Yeah. I worked on all the Marvel Netflix shows, which all were canceled in season 2 or 3, he recalled. Our contracts only give us full vacation pay, like 36 cents per hour worked or some shit. On season 3 shows, 4 years of work, I never got a raise or vacation pay, like $20,000. Wow. Dang. That's
bad, actually.
That's I mean,
by the way, I'm getting the International Alliance. Here we go. I was close. International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees and you know it's an old union because they spell theatrical, TheTrical, so not TERI like the American way. It's still spelled the old English way.
Yeah.
Gap, I'm sorry, you missed the commercial. If you ducked out for a second, you actually missed the commercial. So, but he says the Disney Daredevils gonna say, is that a vibrator in your pocket? Or are you happy to see me? You are a sucker.
Franco Walker's right, by the way.
Yeah,
Franco Walker's right on the money.
Exactly. So, Snorter Pupus did have served something on his silver platter? Maybe silver bed sheets. I'm not sure. Franco,
I have a great
man.
I have a great movie pitch for you guys. We find a certain World War II bad guy leader's DNA, and we can only bring it back as a woman, right? And it just happens to be the movie's called Ambolf Hurdler. What do you think?
Yeah, that would work. Totally, 100%. So, I'd love to see her in a mustache. Then
it'll be a shit show.
And not only did they cancel Daredevil once crew got full raise and holiday vacation pay, the Disney Plus reboot is back to season 1 contract terms. It's a scam. I wonder if
enjoy Christmas at home. We'll be spending the time sharpening up our legal knives to put in your back. Damn.
Yeah, exactly.
These people work very hard, and this show up till now has been all reports are it's good. It's a good show.
Yeah.
The She-Hulk episode is like the nadir of that experience.
Yeah. So actually he responded, Stephen tonight. He does. It's an old Disney scam where they slightly rename a series to reset contract terms back to first season. Needs to be addressed by all the guilds, unions, and crushed. Wow. So essentially all they can do is just
I have more empathy for that than the writers.
They don't have to pay anything.
You know what? Honestly, I have a lot more empathy for that demand than, say, some of the writers' demands. I can at least see his case. I may not 100% agree. I'm going to not really get into whether I agree or not, but at least his argument is not. It's not a slap in the face. Maybe he has something.
So basically, all that Disney has to do is essentially rename the show, or just maybe add something to the show title, and they don't have to pay anybody.
Yeah.
What they do is they move the production from one shell company to another and call it a new show.
Right. Okay. Wow. So essentially scamming people. And
no, it's perfectly legal, but it's not very nice. If you do it, you should be doing it with plenty of notice, but you can't because then people won't sign another contract.
Wow.
Goes back to that business and ethics things. They don't tie
And Born Again, aren't they also going to throw another one at the cast? Aren't they throwing 2 flashbangs at the cast after this season? It goes to LA, but I don't look for it to survive this season. I think this season might bring it down so low.
If they bring it to LA, that's it. It's just done.
They're not going to let these writers write their way either. Yeah. And this thing was a grittier New York story on a much smaller scale. It's kind of easy to understand why he doesn't involve himself in larger events. He's got his hands full with what he does.
That's right.
So
and it's cool.
In LA, it's Hell's Kitchen. Like, what the?
That's the whole thing.
And we've got a nice fake European country for him to be adversarial with, and we found a nice level Spider-Man bad guy for him to go against. And Daredevil was like down there with Iron Man, maybe even a little lower. And we can he's a friendly neighborhood Daredevil. He's much smaller in scale in his efforts than even Spider-Man.
Yeah.
No, he was on the same tier as. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. Unsurprisingly,
the Chitauri just didn't make it to his part of Manhattan, or he would have acted.
Tonight's comments would draw headlines from various entertainment news outlets. In turn, the show runner would offer clarification on the target of his resentment, and for neither of Daredevil and Daredevil Born Again lead actors Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio.
It's Vincent D'Onofrio from Full Metal Jacket. By the way, notice
but solely Disney.
Wait, very quickly, notice this magazine's bias. They have used they named it two different shows. They didn't say the Daredevil, franchise. They clearly said Daredevil and this other show that's its own thing. They're taking sides. They're taking sides.
Exactly. So, retweeting the direct speedy coverage of his anti-Disney criticism, DeKnight explained, "To be clear, I can't wait to see Charlie Cox and the amazing Vincent to reprise their iconic roles. But to claim this is a complete reboot and you don't have to pay the original creatives is some corporate shenanigans, to say the least." Yeah, I would totally agree on that.
No person of goodwill or common sense would say that's wrong. This guy's not out of his mind. I have empathy for what he's saying, and he sounds like he would negotiate too. He's like, "Look, right now this ain't fair. I'm not asking for the world, but let's talk. Let's talk turkey."
Yeah. Perfectly reasonable. So, and this goes along the same thing of, what we just talked about previously. It's like, look, I'm not asking for much. Just continue it. We're all here. We all know what we're doing. We're all set up. We can all get set up and just continue on with the story. But nah, Disney, they're just saying, nah, we don't want to pay you. We'll just rename it and take the actors, and that's it, and poo-poo to you guys. So,
actually, we'll just add a subtitle. It's Daredevil Born Again. Right? If we had to put it the way we should, it's like Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And let's be honest, that's just one reason why this strike is going on too. Look at the way they treat them.
Yes, precisely.
Right.
Whatsoever. So, notably, this is not the first time DeKnight has publicly taken issue with Disney's apparent shortchanging of their television crews. Responding to Culture Crave's July 13th Twitter coverage of She-Hulk Attorney at Law, writer Cody Ziegler's meager residual payments for his work on the show, that's right, almost $400, DeKnight informed his own followers. So, speaking of Daredevil as showrunner of season 1, part of my deal includes a little sliver of the back end. Never expected to see any on Netflix, but then Marvel/Disney pulled it and ended up on Disney Plus. Now I'm part of an audit to try to get the money they owe me and others. Wow. Dang. Lots of people are being owed lots of money. And here's the thing about auditing: to get what's owed to you, he further detailed, you have to pay for it, dividing up among the back end participants. The last time I had to do this, it cost me alone $17,000 and took over 2 years. Holy crap. Continuing his thoughts, he also said, entertainment corporations will do anything to keep from paying you what you're contractually owned. Yep. No big surprise. No big surprise. So, thanks to the ongoing Hollywood Guild's Disney Plus style take on
the things you're writing in the private chat,
it's currently delayed indefinitely.
Those things you've been writing in the private chat since we started this conversation, I don't know how you can multitask, but those are some jaw droppers too. I think you should just tell people.
Yeah. Vancouver people say Disney is a tough company to work for. That's true, because I've known a few extras that have worked for Disney, and actually here in Alberta, and they're a bitch to work with. So delays in pay, breaks. Basically, they'll work you 12 hours, sometimes straight through. And it's true in a lot of cities. It's true in New York, it's true in LA, it's true in Florida, it's true everywhere else. Crappy accounting on top of that. When they were actually filming, I think because they had a little part in when they filmed Under the Banner of Heaven here in Carstairs, because one of the guys actually told me when I was talking to him a couple of years ago that it was Disney had a little bit of a hand to do in it. they work them nonstop here in town.
And you've done some acting, so you've done some acting, and you've been in some TV and stuff, so and you still know people who do this up there in Canada.
Oh yeah, a little bit, yeah. Because I mean, this was back like around the mid '90s when I did stuff like that.
But you got like an episode of like weren't you in Tales of the Dark Side or something cool like that? Though
it was Viper, the supercar.
Yeah, I
Oh,
remember
that one.
That's, yeah.
I remember
Okay,
that
cool.
one.
Yeah. No, I was
Yeah.
in like 3 episodes of that and a movie that was in St. John like ages ago. In Her Defense with Marlene Matlin. But even back in the day, they treated you nice. They sat you down. You waited for your part. I got to schmo a little bit with the main actor of Viper. Went into his trailer. Had a little bit of a drinky and stuff like that. And I mean, they treated even the extras with respect. But I mean, now this is going beyond that. To treat directors like crap, producers like crap, writers like crap. It's like, well, doesn't matter how we treat you. We got the monies. We'll just do what we want and not give two shits. So, because they know that all the little people don't have millions upon millions of dollars to throw at anything legally.
Like that, yeah.
Exactly. And that's why they constantly get away with it. So I think after a while now, and we're just seeing this, even though it's been a few years, we're seeing the true emergence, I think, of total 100% independent media. We're seeing it in comic books. We're seeing it, for years, we're seeing it on YouTube with fan films and stuff like that.
And they'll work around it too, by the way. The definition of a small business might be 300 or less, right?
Yeah.
So what will they do?
Start
at
like crazy.
Or if you're a film studio, start 4 shell corporations, 1 for casting, 1 for technical, 1 for writing, and 1 for your director. And you set them all together and you go, look, it's a 4-company collaboration. Destiny bought this company together to make, Snow What, the new Snow White movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah,
That's crazy.
There's no way I would sell any creation to any of these guys. There's no way.
No,
Because in this whole entire age of, where we can crowdfund, and if people actually believe in the product that you have, that they will support it. They will fund it. It's like, yeah, I want to see this. Sounds like a really awesome idea. Let's make it happen. Here's, take my money, basically.
Yeah.
Right. I want to see this.
Yeah. Comicsgate is full of very good creatives who are putting out their own product, their own characters.
Yep.
Ethan Van Sciver's killing it. Eric July's killing it.
Yep.
So many
And
others.
Eric July didn't crowdfund. He pre-sold, and then he was able to make good on it.
No, he raised the money himself, put it into his
Right,
product, and then
he
put his
pre-sold.
product.
What he did was he said, like, in like 5 months or whatever it might have been, in 20 weeks, my comic comes out. Buy issue 1. It's not quite done. The story is done. I need to get I have the artist hired. He's prepared to start work, but I don't want him to start working until I can commission him. I want to sell, X amount of copies. If I don't do it, I think I'll give you your money back.
Well, he
I'm
didn't.
not sure.
I
I think he did it on Kickstarter or something.
I don't think he went through the normal Kickstarter or Indiegogo routes. He did it on his own.
He went through a really good
things himself.
Well, he very wisely spent, either he spent some money to do it or he knew them, but he got on a major podcast show that doesn't need to be named because we're kind of criticizing it a little bit, so we won't name him. But like, he got on a major podcast show, and Eric July is for real, and Isom sounds like it's for real. Like, I'm just honestly, but he got on there, and on that show, they believed in him, and they do. It does not seem to be fake, but they seem to believe in him, and the comic seems to have done well. People like he would not be doing this, right? He would not have pre-sold so many issue 3s if he wasn't doing. And he knows what he's doing, and he's pretty good at fighting on Twitter. He's a fun Twitter follow.
Yep,
he is.
He's not that mean. He's not that mean.
No, he's not.
But yeah, pre-selling your comic and making good on it is a lot different then crowdfunding, and then maybe it doesn't happen, you know?
True. No, you gotta have a good product. That's the only way
That's
you're gonna make it happen.
That's a good business practice. That's what I did with my calendars the first time I took pre-orders, and people see my work online, and I advertise it. Boom, and I was able to make some money off it. I find that's a good tactic to do, as long as you know people appreciate your work and and stuff. So
that's right. If you got a niche, you got to fill it.
Exactly.
So because there's always going to be somebody hopefully knocking on your door. So seeing how we're pretty much coming on top of the hour, Admiral Teague, you want to plug anything?
My name is Admiral Teague. Join me. You will be well treated. My link is about to go in the chat. I'll be back on Thursday with episode 4 of 1923 from the Yellowstone family of shows. And I'm going to put my YouTube link in the chat. And I'll be over there on Rumble in just a second. So you'll see that coming through presently. And thank you, Mike, for having me on. This thing they call the news that I learn about when I'm here. It's fascinating. The historical documents from your period are very incomplete where I'm from.
Well, anything to eliminate you of who really built Stonehenge. So
after Khan, Noonien, and Soong showed up, we built Stonehenge. I mean, you, me, and Captain Fandom Nerd. And I remember Captain Fandom Nerd saying, these pyramids are just a fad. I have so much money invested in the ziggurat. The ziggurat is the future. And I was like, I don't know, bro. He still doesn't like to talk about it.
That's right. So go figure. Pop Culture Republic. What do you got?
Pop Culture Republic is my channel where I talk about just about anything and everything from comic books, TV shows, movies, novels, K-dramas. Here recently, I've been going back to my comic book roots and doing more live streams about comic books from back in the day. I did a really good one a couple of weeks ago on Image. I'm planning a smaller series on Valiant because I quite enjoyed early Valiant comics. And then I'll probably do more live streams and news and views and whatnot.
That was a fun part one discussion we had when we did the Image stuff. I wish we could have looked at some more of the comics. There's probably a part 2 to that conversation to be had where we look at some more of the art.
Yeah.
And Tom, Foggy Brains, what you got going on?
Just going to be hopefully trying to get some interviews to put my name out there more for the channel. I'm going to be advertising to some certain people, so fingers crossed on that. The commercials, I'm waiting to start my very first recording of commercials, and I've been talking to a guy. I did a movie set this year. He said, you want to work with me next year? So he's got a big project in the go. So I'm still waiting to see.
Very cool.
Keep him busy. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this amazing gentleman.
Well, thank you.
Likes and subscribes all the way around.
Heck yes. Everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. That's right. And don't forget this Thursday, so in 2 days, we're going to be having Al Nickerson, former Marvel and DC artist. Plus on top of that, animator and blah blah blah. I can't even talk. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with my tongue. And animator as well, because he worked also at Nickelodeon, at MTV. He also did a few things at Sesame Street. Put the link into the description if you guys can subscribe and spread that link around. So if you have any of those comic questions that you might have, or what went on in his life, there's going to be lots of stuff, man. Apparently, he was even in Law and Order.
Really?
Some of his artwork.
Wow.
Yes, he was even in Law and Order.
Was he supposedly was he like the crime scene artist, or was it like an art theft plot?
No, like an art thing. He was in the episode titled "Self-Made." So, and apparently,
which Law and Order? There's do you know which one?
Oh, I don't know which one.
There's like 7.
Apparently, in the contract, he stipulated that his artwork could be used, but he owned his artwork on top of that, but also that it would be returned to him, and the studio never returned his artwork. So
They
yeah,
probably trashed it by mistake so no one else could use it. Shit.
maybe, but apparently it was like misplaced, right? So, like what we're hearing with other stories that we just covered today.
Exactly.
So, yep, it was just conveniently misplaced. So, I want to thank everybody that was in the chat. Killer Rabbit from Space and Jack Rabbit, Private Eye, also dropped by. Thanks to you guys for dropping by. Really appreciate it. And our
We love you
illustrious
all.
Carla Burton and Gap After Dark as well. That is more than likely still in the chat. And Carla, if you're still here, hi. We had Stark of Iron drop on by as well. So he probably more than likely had to make it work, as he usually does around this time anyway. And Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips, that is a mouthful, also dropped by, and he said hi as well. And glad to have you here, Wade. And Deef, the mighty Deef, also made it into the chat. Glad to have you here, man. Really appreciate it. And of course, Stephen Ransom. I don't know if he's actually still in California or not, or if he made it back to
Best wishes to you wherever you are, my brother.
Yes, exactly. So
Yep.
hopefully you made it back to the Big Apple, or just doing whatever you're doing in LA. Please be safe. Ray Lucard also dropped on by, and he says hi as well. Great to have you here, Ray. And Wendy, trauma warrior, who's fixing spinal columns and gunshot wounds, also
awesome
dropped on
stuff.
by, and doing basically overhauls on people, it would seem like.
Thank you for all
Frank,
you do.
That's right. Thank you for saving people. Really appreciate it for you working hard and doing
Their
the Lord's
families are
work.
really grateful too.
Yep. And Franco Walker also dropped by as well, and he had to duck out as well and say goodbye. So hail to you, dear sir, and everybody's favorite polar bear, Snorter Poopus Cuber.
Hello, Snorty.
Great to have you, Snorter Poopus. This was actually a joy to actually see you in the chat as well. I never really expected it. However, I did always wonder if you would ever come by, and you did. So thank you, Snorter Poopus, for dropping on by. And Dadman Walking also. Nice to see you, Dadman Walking. Hail to you, dear sir.
Dadman's the best.
Yeah.
Genteel guy.
Man.
What,
He
Dadman, what happened to was it your SEC football show went away? You, Dadman, either took down a video or I don't know, maybe it was just briefly contested and you got it back uploaded, or maybe I just had a 404 error, because I think I listened to a little of his show, but as everyone knows, I like the New York Jets. So.
It's a fun hangout place. It really is. So
it is. Dadman's the greatest. Check out Dadman. Very a global force for good.
Exactly. So thank you, everybody, for showing up by. Please show up on Thursday. I put the link in the chat so you may follow it. So pay attention. Also on Twitter, I'll be posting it again, or on Facebook, or on Gilded, or Discord, or everywhere, wherever you follow stuff. I will put it up, and we will see you, all of you guys, in the chat.
Before we go, give the next show time in metric time, like Greenwich Mean. So you're minus. Say what time you are, and I'll say the adjustment because I know it. I checked it out this morning. Go ahead. Say what time you're on the next show.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So the show is actually going to be on 1 o'clock Mountain Time. So that's going to be 3 p.m.
What
Eastern
day?
On Thursday, the 21st.
Okay.
So in 2 days.
No, you're only 1 hour
3
behind
p.m.
me.
Eastern. Yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern. 1 o'clock Mountain.
That would be -5 GMT at 3 p.m. Eastern.
Right. And noon
or
Pacific.
-6. Right. So -6. Well, you're on Pacific. I thought you were on Central. Did you switch in the seasons? Is that it?
No, I'm in Mountain.
You seasonally switch. Okay. Sometimes, there's one time zone in the U.S. that only comes around for one season.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, that would be -6 GMT, people.
Right. So from everybody here on the panel to everybody out there in the chat, thank you all for dropping on by. Stick around for Frantic Fridays, where we'll just try to end off the week on a good note. And sorry about what happened last week. My computer was acting really buggy. But we will see you on Friday. See ya.
Later.
We love
all.
you all.